Like you have a thing to show them. You got to have that communication channel open all along so that people are ready and waiting for it. But the other piece is,
capture this, man, please. Because this brother here is so hard to get.
It's on?
It's on.
it's bro.
You on it?
No, to get him in this moment right now. I mean, man, you talking like unicorn stuff? This is it, man. So anyway, please, man. I'm sorry.
But the other piece is just that, you know, I work at a business school. So people who are serious about professional careers that require a certain kind of training and a certain perspective come to us. That colors the nature of the conversations that we have, in part, right? So the conversation I had with RZA and DJ Scratch and Joy Brown, like, if it was just me doing it for the culture, that's a different conversation. We talking about different things, right? Not completely different conversation, but when we get into, you know, what does this all mean? We're going to talk a lot more about personal perseverance and hard work and how do you identify an opportunity. We're going to talk about creativity and like the kind of stuff that you don't see that went into, you know, 36 Chambers and the whole the whole Wu-Tang thing, right? We're going to talk about people who burn you, right? Folks that maybe didn't do right by you. We're going to talk about all of that stuff, right? Whereas in a business school context, instead we're going to talk about, well, this is what's going on in the industry, talk to me about your projects, and there'll be some of that wisdom, but it's going to be tempered a little bit because the expectation is that these folks are learning about leadership and management stuff in other contexts, right? And so that's one challenge, but the other challenge is, in my experience, a lot of people think they already know what they're going to get when they see programming that's coming out of UCLA. They just assume, well, it's some university stuff. Like most people, if you say, oh, UCLA Anderson's doing such and such, will not even scroll down far enough to realize, oh, RZA's going to be there. Right? Oh, Maverick Carter's going to be there. They see UCLA Anderson, they're like, oh, UCLA business school stuff, that's not for me. Right? And so, you know, it's going to require thinking more strategically about partnerships to get other people co-producing, not just co-promoting, right? So that people understand what, you know, this is coming from a group of people that really have your best interest at heart and understand the culture. But then it may also require, you know, thinking more about like, how do you establish your own channel, right? So all the stuff that Juliana's been doing for years with Hollywood Post and what her partner in crime was doing with Black TV, that's the kind of stuff we got to be thinking about, which is how do you brand your stuff? How do you create a platform where it's easy to find? And how do you think about kind of having a long-term conversation where when you have a content drop, people are ready for it and they kind of know what they're going to get? For me, I'm already in a media family. Like UCLA, and particularly the business school, we put out stuff all the time, right? But we don't put out stuff like this all the time. And this year, unfortunately, you know, last year we did a ton of digital stuff. This year we held back on digital and in-person stuff because we were looking to kind of like blow it out now, right? We were looking forward to the time when we could do stuff in person.
So you were the cameraman, correct, sir? You ordered the strongest
you know,
So he's in the room.
in the room.
So, you know, I think for us, we just have to, you know, there's stuff that we have to do internally so that we reach more people. But I think longer term, when we talk about all of this DPI stuff, we have to think about more. We have to think more carefully about who are the folks we're trying to serve and how do we reach them, right? Because we can do incredible stuff, but it is no longer true that if you build a better mousetrap, people will build a path to your door. That's not how that works anymore. Because you can build a better mousetrap. If nobody hears about it, they're just going to keep pushing on. Pushing on. So,
Well, and Jay, can you, for the people who don't know you, can you tell us who you are? Because I can't even sit here.
my name's Jay Tucker. I've been here in LA for about 15 years. My areas of expertise are really in tech and media. I run a center at UCLA's Business School focused on media, entertainment, and sports, but from a business perspective. So innovation, leadership, diversity and inclusion, tech management, you know, reaching consumers, new business, stuff like that, right? You know, and I basically met Kevin back when I worked at USC, and together we've just been talking about how we try to make sure that the wheels of progress don't roll over our community.
That's awesome right here. And Cheryl, can you give us really a quick 60 seconds on your Who, What, Why, Where Now?
My name is Cheryl Ridge, and I am executive producer. Doug DeLuca, who is co-producer, Jimmy Coach, one of my business partners. Kent Weed, the Warriors, is another. Just really on the front line for our young people. With the multiples past in our 20s, just here to do the work in any way possible to, mentor young people in any way possible.
Mitch, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Mitch Richmond, NBA player. I said ex-NBA player. Just like anything else, is trying to help the community, trying to give back, especially. I got my hands in a lot of projects now, but it's all about us now. Trying to come together and do it together. I think we got so many people trying to do it individually, and we're trying to do it for the same thing. But I think we're better suited if we do it all together. I think we can open more doors and pull our resources together. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Hi, I'm Donna Jackson Houston. I'm the founder and president of the Nogales Buffalo Soldiers Legacy Association. And just briefly is that last year, my family and I discovered that my grandfather, who served in the United States Army over 100 years ago, we just learned that he was a Buffalo soldier. So with this newfound discovery, I have partnered with the leaders, the city of Nogales, the mayor, and the community came together and we did a huge 3-day tribute to the Buffalo Soldiers and did a museum exhibit, and that was for kickoff of Black History Month. And this is the mission of the Buffalo Soldiers Legacy Association is to educate communities and students locally and nationally. So I've been so excited that this was so well received that pretty much 2022 is already full. The exhibit's going to various museums already, and we're going to take this nationally. And one last thing I want to say is that any descendants of Buffalo Soldiers, please contact me, because as we start going to cities, I want to include your story, your bio in the exhibit.
Hi, I'm Kevin Clark, Jack R Foundation for the Performing Arts. This is 31 years in the works. I am proud to be here today as a descendant of a Black Panther. My mother, Barbara Clark, who's in pretty bad health right now, but again, I fight on for her in the spirit of all the things that she's taught me is to serve, serve, serve. And all I can do is just be proud and prideful of the fact that she was my mother.
After I eat.
Don't worry, I didn't get you eating in this shot either now.
That's right.
That's what we call it. Get a seat. That's what we call it.
You ready? I don't want to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
I'm
You ready? Okay. No. I'm sorry to reach over.
Oh, no, please.
Yes, I'm Rashid Bahati. I've been knowing Kevin for a pretty good little while, as I was expressing. I taught school some years in Compton Unified School District, and I think that's when I met Kevin. And we started going to France right after that, to the Cannes Film Festival. And actually shortly after that, I formed a distribution company for independent Black film. And the whole focus was around international distribution. But along that curve, as I mentioned to the brother here, we had a company called Streamcasters, which was formed by brothers that had cashed out of Microsoft, and self-made millionaires, and started a company at the time in the late 90s. Late 90s, we were doing streaming media, we had URLs, we were doing selling email, all kinds of things prior to, everything that has happened now. So I feel very fortunate on that level. But one of the most important things, I'm in the film business as well, but one of the most important things I do right now is my son is a 10-time U.S. champion cyclist. He has traveled around the world, one of the few African Americans involved in the sport. He started a foundation 10 years ago. It's called the Bahati Foundation, and we serve inner city youth. In fact, we're doing a screening on your campus in the next 3 weeks at James Bridges Hall. He did a race across America from Oceanside, California to Annapolis, Maryland, over about 3,000 miles in 6 days. A 4-man team. So they're showing a film. This was all documented, and they're showing a film, and we're going to show it at UCLA. So that's one of the most important things I'm doing right now is serving young people in the community, getting them involved in the same sport that my son was involved in.
Rashid, who's the subject of the movie? Which one?
Oh, the movie I'm working on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is this person? 'Cause this is just
Okay, I'm the executive producer of a major film right now on a gentleman who, at the turn of the century, African American, was the first champion, first sports superhero of any sport. His name was Major Taylor. He was a bicyclist at the turn of the century, became a world champion in 1899, became a self-made millionaire from riding bicycles. So his story is very compelling. I'm really excited that we're doing a major motion picture on this man's life right now. We have Clement Virgo. If you guys are familiar with the Book of Negroes, he was the director of that. I also have the scriptwriter Robert Isaac, who wrote Great Debaters. He's the scriptwriter, so we have a really solid project. I'm really excited about that. So that's it.
Right. Thank you.